Hello, politics. We're going to be having a very epic live stream with my good friend Chicago Zoomer discussing AR-15s, gun control in general, why it's stupid, it's ineffective, and most importantly, why it's just cringe. Because you can talk about statistics and the facts and logic about why guns are bad, but I think that's just stupid because guns are just cool, so they should be legal. But I'm sure Chicago Zoomer has some more official takes on that, so I'll hand it over to him.
I think a better reason than cool, which I'll get to in a minute, is probably why it was written in the Constitution in the first place. This wasn't men that got back from a hunting trip. This wasn't dudes that just were gun nuts. This was people that just fought a tyrannical government. And it says explicitly, like okay, I'm going to try to think about how to start this. Probably the first thing is I'd like to ask people, how many Americans are there? And then you got to think, how many are getting killed by guns? There are 334 million Americans as we speak right now in this country. Only about what is it? Yeah, only about 100 a year get killed by AR-15s. Car accidents kill a little over 1,000. And by the way, we're talking about AR-15s. Let's talk about Glocks for a second. If you go to Chicago, Baltimore, St. Louis, Detroit, LA, any of these places, you're going to see the fact is these are killing way more people. And wait, can I say killing?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay, well, just want to I want to know if I can.
Badly injuring.
Yeah, badly injuring, fatally injuring people. So yeah, no, there's that. So then you got to keep the philosophy consistent. The fact is, it's killing thousands and thousands of people every year during that, but there's only like 1 or 200 people a year dying from AR-15s. Then you got to account for the fact that concealed carry laws, a bunch of other stuff. Let's look at Chicago versus Houston. Both have relatively sized populations, but Houston was actually fairly moderately run about 20 years ago. They had looser gun laws 20 years ago. They were one of the safest cities in the United States. Then they lighten up on gun control policies. They start going in like deeper and deeper, like, hey, yeah, no, we were going to say like, you get to keep your gun and you get to have a concealed carry or open carry or whatever. Yeah, no, we're not doing that. We're gonna lighten up on your freedoms real quick. So they start going in. They just and now you see crime is on the rise there. It was a perfectly fine city. I mean, there was a little bit of petty crime once in a while, but it wasn't nearly as bad as Chicago. Now it's getting there. So you can't use the population density argument, especially since it balances out. So what the hell are we gonna do? What are we going to do as a country when we have all this gun violence, but most of it is even from AR-15s? And I don't know who argued this with me. I have no I forget who it was, and if it was on one of these streams, but someone told me like, yeah, but to stand up against a tyrannical government or whatever, it's gonna take way more than just like an AR-15, as well as like people are, not as fit and not as many Americans are have a good shot. It's like, yeah, but if that was the case, why the hell are they fighting to get rid of the AR-15 specifically? Okay, if we're gonna believe this is a tyrannical government at the moment, we're at least gonna have to believe that most Americans, like all you need is really 3% of the population. That's really all you need to go up against the government. That's what our, founding fathers did. So I don't know about that. I know I got yeah, but no. And then we got to think about knives. Knives kill, I think, about 3 to about 5,000 people every year. I mean, you can just go in deeper and deeper. But yeah, no, these mass casualty events. Here's another one. If you look at, I wonder. I'll just mention it. If something happens, it happens. If you look at Uvalde, Texas, you have all these police officers armed to the teeth, trained, like completely perfect, and they're just standing out there. People are like, but they're scared. I don't give a shit. There are kids in there scared for their lives. You go in there. You signed up for this shit. To risk your life. You signed up for it. I don't, I'm not, that's what my tax dollars go to. I don't care. Like, you go in there. But no, they had to wait. They had to let people's, blood drain from their bodies and let them die slowly. That's cool, I guess. Yeah, no, but then if you look at Indianapolis, where this other almost mass casualty event, thank God it wasn't, this guy came in there, he wasn't going for only 5 people. Because he did manage to hit 5 people. No, he had several loaded clips in his backpack. He had an AR-15. Each clip has about 30 rounds. This was going to be one of the most deadly mass shootings, or sorry, deadly mass casualty events in probably American history. This is going to be pretty bad. I don't know why, like, he was going to do it. Nobody really does, but this was going to be pretty bad. Thank God for the fact that we had a good citizen who was carrying their weapon and was able to eliminate the threat. This is what open carrying does. People are like, yeah, but we shouldn't live in the Wild West. It's like, it's not living in the Wild West. It's like going to England and be like, we shouldn't live in the medieval times where you have to have sword fights because of knives. Like, no, dude, it's called self-defense. Okay? And I'd rather live in the Wild West instead of the medieval times where I'm getting stabbed constantly. Okay?
True.
At least the Wild West, I die fairly instantly. You know, like, I'm not whatever, but
Yeah, everyone
no,
talks
this
about how
is
England's and like Australia's gun bans, like, oh, look how they stopped mass shootings. But like, I think mass stabbings and like
well,
bombings and like carjackings and like Grand Theft Auto increased like tenfold
yeah.
after that.
Well,
People are
yeah,
doing,
and not only
yeah,
just that, but you have to remember that these countries did not have as high of a gun culture as our country does too. There
yeah.
is a lot of guns in the United States. Like, if we're just talking only registered, you damn well know
There's more
in
guns than
major
people.
cities. If you know in major cities, there's probably a
Oh
lot more
yeah,
that just aren't. So there's about 120 per 100 people. So that's how many guns we have in this country. That's a lot to manage. And then you got to remember that the unregistered ones are the ones doing the most crime. So this won't really solve crime issues. Not to mention, people who are awful, who want to get a gun, will get a gun into this country and do
yeah.
some horrific things. If you look at the New Zealand Christchurch shooting, that gun wasn't from New Zealand. That man somehow managed to bring it from Australia to New Zealand. And what's their solution? Let's just ban them here. No, you just punished your citizens for someone that wasn't even from there, wasn't even a citizen, that came in with a gun not from there, shot up a mosque, which, by the way, I don't really know how I feel about that. And then they're just like, oh shit, like, we need to like ban guns. It's like, really? That's like your final straw? That's what finally blows it for you? Dude, how about we try to manage what's going on? I thought the TSA was there to help us.
Fun
What
fact: the
the
TSA has never stopped a terrorist before.
Never, ever.
Nope.
They've never done it. And it's always like, that was a great example. Like, how, like, we should have way better security. If the TSA is as good as they say they are, they should have stopped this. I think he got in an airplane, but yeah, no. That's how crazy it is. It will always manage to happen. And the dark web, and I argue with my little brother, he's a liberal too, and he's just like, yeah, but it's very hard to get it on the dark web. It's like, it's really
It's
not.
really no, it's really
It's
easy.
really easy to do that. Like, dude, like, because me and my friends were bored one day, so we were like,
Oh,
fuck it.
I like where this is going.
We were like, fuck it. So then I downloaded Tor browser on my computer, and we just started like going, like, saying, like, let's see if we can get illegal guns. 45 minutes. Like, if you try hard enough,
And
you
if you
will.
know where to go, you can probably find it sooner, honestly.
Yeah, no, if you know where to go, you can get it instantly. Like, once we got that website, we went again. It was literally 2 minutes. Done. Like, you could so easily do that. Even illegal ammunition. Like, you could get, like, even, dude, it was awful. It was it was one of the worst things we've ever seen, and we're just like, we are probably on a government watch list. Like,
I
so
mean, probably, but that's kind of based, you know?
yeah, no, it might be a little bit. But anyway, yeah, no. So it's very easy, like, to find that shit. It's just good people, like I like to think I am, don't choose to do that sort of stuff. They don't choose to just be like, no one wakes up one morning and is like, oh, let's just, like, cause a mass casualty event at a
Unless you
hospital.
have
No one's
serious, like, mental health issues, which is another issue that in my
Mysterious.
opinion, is far more important than the whole gun control thing.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was about to get to. Is
Yeah.
I don't know about your school, but even mine, the teachers just oh god. And this is where it's like tenure gets involved, and where I hate the education system. But like the main thing we need to focus on right now is definitely mental health.
Oh yeah.
Like this is like the teachers don't care. They're not going to do anything. They're not going to get fired for it. So you're pretty much screwed in that department. The counselors, the second something happens and you talk to them about it, they literally, I shit you not, like the amount of times I've had to beg them not to mention my name, and then they just choose
Yeah.
to anyway. I'm like, dude, so
They
no
call your
one
parents
goes
or
to them.
sometimes even the police. Yeah, I've heard stories like that.
Oh yeah, no. Like I had a very bad mental health issue, right? So I told the school counselor about it, and it was only like a case of a depression.
Yeah.
It wasn't that bad. And then I was talking about, how I was thinking I might have suicidal ideation, but I don't know, and I need to go to a therapist to figure it out. I want like definitely help from her. What a great way to help someone who might be having suicidal ideation to call a fucking cop car
Bro.
and my parents and all this shit. Like right when I'm like, and this was like later. This wasn't like immediately either. So she was like, let's see if he jumps off the school first. Like, no, this
Like a
was
week
like
later.
this was like an hour later. I was at my house.
Bro.
I
And
was at my
the
house
cop showed up to your house?
and I was just like, what did I do? Like, what did I do? Like, I know I stood on the roof of the Hammerschmidt thing, but I wasn't gonna kill myself. Me and my friends were hanging out, right? So, yeah, no, that was fun. Don't break onto factory roofs, people. So, back to what I was saying, it wasn't because of that. It was literally because of the suicidal shit. Then right after an ambulance comes, I'm supposed to ride in there.
Jeez.
My dad's like, "Why are you making us look crazy?" I'm like, "Dude, this was not in my realm of control. This was not my idea. This was not at all my idea, dude." So yeah, no, fuck. Yeah, no, it was that was awful. And it's like, oh, that's a great thing to do for mental health. Like, thank God I'm mentally strong. Like, I can handle, some
Yeah.
embarrassment. But
But that
someone who's like already
that'd be
on,
hard, yeah.
someone's
If you're
already on a
already on the
miserable
edge and then you
life.
had that happen for your entire
Yeah.
family and neighborhood, ooh, that that would not be good.
Luckily, my neighborhood completely understood because most of their kids hate that school too.
Uh,
But
yeah.
my oh my god, that was sorry. I'm just reliving some bad memories from that. Oh my god. But yeah, no, I know someone like one of my other friends though. He was getting completely harassed. Like it was almost unfair. Like I was trying to get help, he was trying to get help, all of his friends were trying to get help. All of us were trying to do something about it because it was like it was at this point it wasn't even funny. Like I'm a strong supporter of bullying. I think you do need to get a little bit of thick skin before you get out there in
Yeah.
the real world. But there is a
That's true. Bullying
certain
does prepare
line.
you for the real world, but there is
Yeah.
obviously a limit, but
There is a line that you can't cross. Like
yeah,
once it's like literally chanting for someone to end themselves, like
bro.
I'm like, okay, this is it. Like this is the line. Like don't go there. So he was like literally he was getting beat up. He was having his life threatened.
And let me
We
guess,
kept
school
going.
staff did nothing, but they cared about
We
you.
literally told them we were like, no, you need to do something about this. You need to do something about this. And they're just like, you guys just seem like you're being a little over dramatic. I'm like, here's a video
Bro.
of them literally saying, we are going to stab you in the bathroom tomorrow, bitch. That's
What
what they
the?
said.
That
That's what
is
they,
that's disgusting.
yeah. And then, they're just like, but like, they're just really good kids. And I'm like, they're
Let me
really
guess, they
not. I
probably
mean,
donated to the school or their parents knew the staff.
oh, fuck no, dude. It's because they're fucking black.
Oh, hey, yo.
It's no, it is.
Hey, yo, yo.
It's because they need. Okay, Buckeye does not endorse anything I say. I can go however far I want because Buckeye is not aware of where this conversation is going. So yeah, no, but it
What,
was
so they
because
didn't
of
want to be
that. So the
accused of
school
being
didn't want to look.
racist?
It's not racist. The school doesn't want to look racist. They want to
Yeah, that's
like.
what I'm saying. Is that
There's like
why?
5 students. It was like 5 or 6, and all of them exclusively black.
Well, that's the
Well, one of them.
problem is everyone's too scared about being called a racist to do anything in
Well, I mean,
scenarios like that.
to be fair, it is kind of like, especially in like urban areas, because it's like you live around other black people, so then they'll look at you differently, even
Yeah.
if it's not true. So it's like you have a good chunk, like in my town, you'd have a good like 10-15% chunk that would actually look at you completely differently if some scandal came out about the school. And then probably some Hispanics, which then would rise it to about like 40% of my town, would be like, dude, what's wrong with you? And then Asians, so it'd get to like 50%. It's like half the town would be like, well, what other minorities do you hate? You know? And
Yeah.
they'd look at you. So it would
It's
just
a
be
tough
completely
line.
up. Yeah. So
I mean, I can kind of understand the tough line, but still, that's
yeah.
at some point you got to step in.
Yeah, no, but it was, so it's just completely chaotic. Our school system's completely destroyed. And now we have all these events.
Yeah,
What
let's
we
get back.
really,
Yeah, and like another thing that people don't talk about is antidepressants. Like, if you go to your school
oh my
counselor,
God.
or
Yeah,
you
no,
often get. But I
almost
think I think
all of
every single
these.
mass shooter has been on antidepressants. So,
No, it's actually the weird thing. It's like I'm on them. Like I'm not going
eh,
anywhere. However, it's when you go cold turkey off of them. Like
really,
when you do, I've had an incident where that happened.
yeah,
You have the worst thoughts imaginable. Like when you have to
really,
go off of them, your doctor has to do this very gradual fade out of it. They have to schedule.
really. I
Yeah,
didn't know
no.
that.
Because if you go off of them cold turkey, you turn into almost a psychopath.
Huh.
So you need to go on them because
Yeah, I
otherwise
think there's something with antidepressants, honestly, because
you want to end yourself or you want to hurt others. For me, it's more myself because I just am like, oh fuck, But
yeah,
like, for other people it can be both. For some people it can just be to other people, and it's really bad. It's really bad on the psyche. So you need to, yeah, it's like it needs to be set up with your doctor and a bunch of stuff. And honestly, I'm getting off of them because I don't really need them. But a long time ago I did. So yeah, no, it was
yeah. I just think that's
that's
that's interesting because if you look at every single mass shooter, they've all been on antidepressants or were
yeah,
on antidepressants, which makes you think there's something there because
yeah,
it's a
no.
weird coincidence.
For me, I think there's more of a, odder coincidence that most of these people, like, it's always, we don't know what happened.
Yeah.
We don't know. They seemed perfectly fine. They had nothing going wrong. You know,
Yeah.
like, I don't know, off topic. Remember MK Ultra?
No, I've
Anyway,
read about this stuff. Yeah.
yeah,
That's
no, but
that
anyway,
stuff is creepy. It's definitely still going on, the MK Ultra shit.
yeah, no, that I would believe it. Like, and
I
then
buy it. I would
and
buy
then
it.
and then my friends are like, dude, but not everything's a conspiracy.
Yes, it is.
I'm like, yeah, it is.
But
Have you
this one
seen
makes
how messed up our
sense.
government is?
Yeah.
Like, dude, they've literally planned on bombing us.
Yeah.
Have you looked at what is it? Operation Northwoods.
Yeah,
Anyone
Northwoods
wanna
where they wanted to get us involved with Cuba. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've read about
no.
that. Yeah.
It's like yeah, so no, I would have no doubt the government's involved in some stuff. Um yeah, no, but anyway, we need to focus on mental health. Mental health is the main issue that we have when it comes to gun violence and
Yeah.
all these sort of things. And also, you need to focus on a proper education for inner cities. Nobody's like going out and being like, yeah, I'm going to shoot somebody just for like $20. Like, no one does that. That is years and years of desperation of someone who is really in need, really hurt, whatever, and they can't get a job because they didn't have a proper education. They probably just were like, screw school. I would
Yeah.
too if I was out there because I've seen how bad it is.
Well, you have no
There's,
future. You have nothing
yeah.
like, yeah.
So
I
it's
would
like,
understand that.
might as well. So then they go out there and then they're just, oh God, it's awful. They just kill people. They don't even care. It's it's the most depressing thing. Like their value of life is completely crushed. So they just go out there and don't care. This is years and years of teaching people, oh yeah, it's okay to ruin other people's lives. It's okay to end them. Like this is awful. We need a better education system in their cities. We need, better mental health in schools and for adults. We just need to make sure we actually have a better mental health examination of them. Not before they just get a gun or whatever, but like I'm talking explicitly in general. We should
Yeah.
honestly have like, how you have to go to the doctor every 6 months and you have to go to,
Yep.
dentist every 6 months, kind of like
Yeah.
that. Just go to at least one therapy meeting every 6 months, at least, and figure your stuff out. I don't know. That's my take on guns for the most part. is our philosophy isn't consistent, how a bunch of other things kill way more Americans, and we're focusing on AR-15s. Why is it the one gun that makes us relatively equal to the government all of
Yeah.
a sudden needs to be banned while the other ones don't? It's just a little fishy to me why we've been focusing on that. Nobody's been able to define to me what an assault rifle is. Nobody has been able to define that to me. Like even my mom.
Assault rifles are already banned.
Yeah, no.
The AR-15 is
It
a
is.
semi-automatic rifle. It's not.
Yeah, no. An
Yeah.
assault rifle is an automatic, I think, like fully automatic.
Yeah, no, a fully automatic rifle is if you hold down the trigger, it fires like multiple bullets.
It
I
fires
believe.
until you stop.
Yeah, it fires until you stop. Well, a semi-automatic, you have to actually flick your finger every time. Like you have to pull the trigger every time to fire one bullet.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. This is
Yeah,
why.
fully automatic rifles have been banned since like the 1930s, I believe.
Yeah,
Although
no,
I think there were some cases until the 1990s, but I think it was first banned in the 1930s.
yeah, no. But if you like, that's what I've told people. I've just been like, you want to know why people don't cause those mass casualty events in red states? Because look what happened in Indiana.
Yeah,
Look
someone
what
else was
happened
there.
there.
There's a good guy with a gun.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they don't do it in those red states.
And then I love how they always say like, "Oh, we don't need guns. We have the cops to protect us." And look what happened in Uvalde. The cops just
You
stood
know.
there while the kid, not the kid, the murderer did some messed up stuff to the kids. You know, that's just
You know.
the cops
This
will protect us.
the
Yeah,
cops,
no,
they aren't even there to protect you. I hate when they say serve and protect. Okay, you're gonna take, like, at least in my town, because like some of us, it's sometimes like, like privatized in a certain way to where it's like if you donate money, like
yeah,
that, like they'll have better stuff. So like it is kind of, it's like a weird public privatized thing. Um. Anyway, so yeah, no, they're relatively quick because they're thankful for our donations and shit. So they will speed, to get here, but that still takes 5 minutes.
yeah,
And 5 minutes is the difference between
life
a
and death
911 call
easily
and then my death. Like that is very quick. Someone could literally shoot me, all my family, and have us bleed out and then die
in 5 minutes.
in 5 minutes. That is not enough time. The police are not there. Like they say they're there to protect, but in reality, they really aren't. They're only there to serve. They're there to be the cleanup crew. They're there to get the guy and they're there to leave. Your job with the Second Amendment is to protect yourself and your family. That was the whole point. That
Yep,
was literally the whole point.
yep,
Was
yeah. That's exactly true.
was protecting everything you know and love. That was the point of the Second Amendment. And then people were like, yeah, but the police are there. No, you get your gun, you protect your family. My family owns a bunch of guns because we're smart and we're not stupid. We
Yeah,
know
true.
that something's about to happen. We have like my grandfather's rifle from Korea still stored up. It doesn't shoot, but it looks cool.
It's scary. That's half the battle, making yourself
Yeah,
seem
no.
intimidating.
Yeah, no, that's it. I mean, it has a little knife at the, I forgot what it's called.
The
Like,
bayonet.
yeah, the bayonet, that's what it is. Fuck,
That's actually really cool.
I know, right? Anyway, yeah, no. My dad got me an AR for Christmas like a few years ago, and I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. And he's like, yeah, no, it's going in a safe. So, and that's another thing. Parents, we need responsible gun owners. Like, just flat out, it's fine if you have your gun in your room, but don't, like that Michigan kid, remember
Yeah,
that?
that
They
should not
just
have happened.
left it on the dining
Yeah,
table. Like,
and the kid had
what?
mental health issues. That's just awful parenting.
Like, that's not. So then there's awful parenting, and then they blame it on the video games. They blame it on,
Yeah, video games cause violence.
okay, yeah, no. We have five, what is it? We have like five slasher villains or something in movies. We have like, tons of Saw movies. Or what is there, nine? There's like nine
Yeah,
Saw movies.
those are
We
just as
like
much to
that.
blame as video games. But yeah, I don't think either of them are. But if you're
Yeah,
gonna
no,
say the
but that's
video
what I'm
game
saying.
comparison, you might as well make a talk about the Hollywood.
Yeah, like why does Hollywood? And that's another thing. They want guns out of video games and stuff. Look at Hollywood. Look how many
Yeah,
times there's a good guy with a gun and a bunch of bad guys with a gun, and the good guy wins. Look how much that is. And they're just Hollywood's the same people going, "Oh my God, those video games though." It's like you're doing shit way worse. And it's always revenge in Hollywood too. Like if you look
yeah.
at any of these movies, especially Taken or like John Wick
Oh yeah,
or any of
John
these
Wick's all
movies,
about revenge.
it's always revenge. It is always revenge. And then, and, just to link it to video games, that Michigan shooter kid, apparently he was, what was it called? It was, I'm trying to
Didn't he
think.
didn't they say he quoted like some
Yeah,
video
he
game, but it
quoted
was
a video
no,
game. I
but it was
forgot what.
also from like Robert Oppenheimer after he made the nuclear weapon.
Yeah, it was
a
a nuclear
common,
weapon.
yeah, that
But
was like a
yeah, it
common
was,
phrase, but they just linked it to the video game and not the hundreds of other times it's been used across history.
yeah, no. It was like, yeah, cool. It was made, but it's in a video game, I guess. Like,
It's
what?
even though it was said by Robert Oppenheimer the first time after he made the atom bomb, but it was
Yeah,
also in a video game. So instead of talking about the bomb and Robert Oppenheimer, they talked about the video game.
yeah, no. I mean, our news is trying to brainwash us into
Oh
stupid
yeah,
stuff. And
they
here's
always have been. It's just more obvious now.
well, yeah, no, Trump
My
exposed.
grandpa used to work at the like local news station behind the cameras, and he said back then and says now that even when he worked, this was like the 1960s, he was behind the camera, and every single person working the camera angles like behind the scenes were all Republicans, and everyone on the actual air, like the news anchors, they were all Democrats. So he says that. So he
Yeah.
says there's 100% media bias because he's seen it firsthand. And this was in the 1960s. Could you imagine how bad it? Imagine how bad it is now.
They probably don't even have Republican
Yeah,
cameramen
but yeah,
because they would just turn it off and be like, "No, we're
yeah.
putting a stop to this." Yeah, no, yeah, no, but our media is lying to us. Even Fox News. If you think Fox or CNN are news sources to anyone watching this, you are just a dipshit. You are quite low IQ'd. No, these people are lying. Even Fox is in on it. I don't care what anyone says. They're just trying to divide people more and more to where we're all arguing about stuff and then they can take our guns. Come and take it, right?
True.
But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, all these.
I mean, I think Fox News is better than most, but still.
Eh, I would honestly rather watch Newsmax than Fox News. I don't like watching the news at all, but if I had to,
I
you
don't.
know,
Yeah, my family always has Fox News on the TV, just how we've been, because conservative families always tend to do that. But
yeah,
so I don't think it's too bad because I watch it like it's always on TV in my house, so
you know,
I don't think it's too bad actually. Some of the stuff is actually kind of based, but some of it is definitely, you know, makes you think.
my parents have this cool little war that they do. So
Yeah.
my mom will turn on like CNN, and then my dad will turn on Fox right after. And it's like you just want to know who was last in that room. You just go see what's on the TV
Yeah.
because they always switch it to one or the other, and it's funny. Oh my god, yeah, no, that was, but I totally envy you. But at the same time, like Tucker Carlson, I don't care what anyone says. He was like, what's that one guy? Andrew Cuomo, I think it was.
Yeah, I like Tucker.
Yeah,
Some of
he's
his
like,
history is kind of iffy, gonna be honest, but I like him now
I
because
don't know. I think Oregon would go red for him.
oh yeah, definitely. No, but if you look at some of his past statements, like in the early 2000s when he was with MSNBC and CNN, he said some very like iffy things about like how if he became a populist, it would just to be to keep your average person unaware of what was going on. But I don't know. I think that that's kind of misleading what he said. Vice made a whole video about it, basically saying he's faking what he's saying. But the fact that Vice made that and is calling out Tucker Carlson makes me think that's probably the quote from it is probably out of context, and he's probably just fine.
Yeah,
But
maybe, or Vice actually cared for a minute.
yeah,
I don't
of
know.
course
I
they
don't
care
know.
about Tucker Carlson, not about anyone on the
Yeah.
left.
Oh god, and I could talk about the downfall of this country. By the way, within the next 1 or 2 months, we are going to experience some food shortages, so you're probably going to need an AR-15 for hunting. It's one
True.
of the most popular hunting rifles in general. A lot of people, a lot of hunters, are known for that's like their preferred weapon of choice is an AR-15 because it's just way more accurate. It's way easier to hold. It's way easier to shoot and control. It is a very easy gun to use, yet it's also very powerful. That's why gunmen like
Love it.
to use it. That's why gunmen like to use it because it's like you don't need to be that trained, but also a lot of good people need it. A lot
Yeah.
of genuinely good, nice people. Most of the time, it's like if we banned cars, because more like almost actually less people own cars than guns.
Yeah,
So
I imagine that.
so you got to ask yourself, how are more people dying from cars but less from guns? Should we ban cars? No, that would be stupid, and you know it too. this is it's inconsistent philosophy. We're
Yeah.
not we're not actually trying to look for the facts here. We're just like, okay, it looks scary, it sounds scary, it is scary.
No, what's
That's what
funny
the
is there's
actors
actually zero difference between the AR-15 and one of those like World War II like wooden rifles that you're probably the one your grandpa had in Korea. There is
Yeah,
actually very little difference between them. It's just the AR-15 is made to look cooler and more modern. But actually, in terms of like
yeah.
functionality, they're basically the same thing.
Yeah, so all you'll have is someone looking like they just fought Vietnam
Yeah.
and just came back and that's it. Like,
Yeah.
and I like the modern look. So all you're doing is just ruining guns for me. Like that's all you're doing. So that's my argument against gun control. I hate it. I'm around it and it sucks. That's why my town and a lot of the Republican areas of Illinois, especially even the Democrat areas, believe it or not, of Illinois outside of Chicago, are fairly pro gun now. Because they're like, yeah, look how good that's doing, Lori.
Yeah,
Like
a lot of people, even Democrats back in 2020 bought guns, like especially
yeah,
in the suburbs because they saw the riots and they saw COVID and they were like, "Oh shit, stuff's actually happening." So
yeah,
even
and
a
you know
lot of
what?
Democrats bought guns, which makes zero sense about why they're trying to push gun control now. Because I think that being pro-gun has actually become slightly more of just a generic issue instead of like a right versus left. It's more of just an American issue versus the
Yeah,
elites.
and that's another thing. Here's the thing. I don't know about out there for you guys, but our Democrats have kind of chilled out about gun control.
Oh,
Like
ours have too. Yeah.
especially out in the suburbs,
Yep.
because a lot of them are like, yeah, no, we were perfectly fine. My gun didn't brainwash my kid into
Yeah.
wanting to shoot up a school. Actually, you news sources tried to.
True.
So
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah,
I'm
Democrats
perfectly
out
fine.
here. Well, I used to live in a very Republican area, so any
Yeah.
Democrat out there did support guns because literally everyone where I used to live owned guns. Now that I've moved, I'm in a more liberal area, and I have not seen anything with guns yet. Granted, I've only been here a few weeks, but I have not seen anything with guns out here yet. It's mostly been about abortions, what the Democrats are running on. No one's even talked about mass shootings or guns.
Yeah, no. Wait, okay, I'll ask you later what city you're from because I honestly forgot. But yeah, no, it oh my god, but thank God I live in the suburbs I do, because even in the blue areas, they're very pro gun still now. Because nothing happened. Nothing bad happened. Like they came out here for a little bit and then everyone just showed their guns and they left.
Yeah.
They were like, oh screw this. They have ARs. Why does that kid have an AR? And then they just left. And then, I was like, thanks, Dad. He's like, no problem. And yeah, no, so that was probably one of my most proudest moments because I live in like a first ring suburb, so like
Yeah.
I'm at the forefront of whatever happens that comes out here. So, oh god, yeah, no, it's awful. I my even the treasurer of Cook County, me and my mom were listening to her the other day on my way to work. Right,
Hmm.
I'm
Is
not
she
even kidding.
she pro
She
gun?
was she was like talking to someone. She wasn't pro gun, but she did allude to it. She
Yeah.
was like, okay, so like okay, I forgot the guy's name, but she asked him, she's like, okay, so you're from Cook County, because I'm guessing she isn't. So are you? And then he's like, no, I'm not. And then she's like, okay, that's smart. And I was like, oh my God, what? This is on a radio show. You're the treasurer. And she's just like, she's like, yeah, no, it's getting a little crazy out here. If you get to Englewood and look at the housing and how dangerous it's getting. Like, I'm just like, yeah, I figured. But yeah, no, she was talking about a bunch of stuff. And yeah, I was like, how is it that every single person that I've talked to now is pro gun? Like, even my most liberal of liberal friends, their boyfriends who have them illegally have guns. Okay. And they're just like, I mean, I just feel safe, I'm like, I wouldn't around a non registered gun to an underage person. Like, that's not that's not what would make me feel comfortable. I feel comfortable around in a room with just a gun, like a police gun, my dad's gun, any gun. Like as
Yeah.
long as it's registered, I'm
Yeah,
fine.
I'd feel safer around 100 like mentally sane people with fully automatic AR-15s versus like 10 people who are like mentally crazy.
Yeah, no, because the crazy people, it's those are the ones you got to look out for because they'll
Yeah.
find a way to kill you eventually.
Yeah.
Like they don't even care. One time, someone tried stabbing me with a ruler, and it kind of worked. But yeah, no, I would not. People, no.
People are crazy.
Yeah, especially in Chicago. Don't come out here without like me. Like I need to be your tour guide. Like you don't have nobody here, especially in the suburbs. Nobody here has any street smarts. Like I just know like don't look at anybody when you're going in. Just look straight to where you're going. You'd be looking out the window like waving to people.
Hi.
Like, oh god, yeah, no, it would get awkward. But yeah, no. So there's like that's another reason why just people just get flat out shot in Chicago because they think the whole place is safe, or they think, oh, I'm not gonna get shot. It's like, yeah, no, maybe if you're in like not in Highland Park, but the rest of the
Yeah.
Northeast side, sure, probably not. But like if you literally go outside of that, then it gets really bad. That's another thing. We should acknowledge how high the crime has risen since Biden got in. Whenever it's
Oh
a
yeah.
Democrat implementing these gun policies, it always manages to get worse in Chicago. When under Trump, the Northeast side and even just the whole North side as a whole was relatively safe, especially the Northeast side. The Northeast side, I could actually go into and just walk around. Like
Yeah,
that
I
was
bet. Yeah.
and for me that's like a huge step. That's like a huge step for Chicago. Um but now it's like you need probably bulletproof clothing. You need to like hide like behind,
Literally got to
you
wear the
know,
Iron Man suit.
literally, like I'm not even kidding. You would probably get shot. There are people, I think it's on 290, I-290. It's either that or I-90. It's one of the two. It goes right past the Sears Tower and people are getting shot there. Like every week, one person gets shot, roughly speaking. One or two people. So you're just rolling the dice. You're just rolling the dice driving into Chicago. Who would do that? Like one of my sister's friends, her mom works in the Sears Tower. She's like, screw that. I'll go into counting somewhere else, right? She doesn't
Yeah.
care. She'll go somewhere else out like in Batavia or something. I think it is now. So yeah, no, everyone's starting to work out in Batavia, my mom included. And yeah, no, it's completely, this is what happens when you have Democrat rule with Democrat policies destroying our neighborhoods because of one of the reasons are because of gun control. And yeah, no, I am strongly against gun control. Like, very, because it just kills people. And oh god, and I want to talk about the potential genocides on our way. I don't know if I can say that word
I
on YouTube.
probably not,
Okay.
unfortunately, but
I don't know if I can say that. I'm gonna say the no bad things. So yeah, no, if we look at the 20th century alone, if you look at every single time, it wasn't like these dictators were like, hey, give us your guns so we can implement these policies that will, definitely affect you negatively and probably help us exterminate most of you. No one, that's what I'll say, exterminate. Like you'll see Stalinist Russia, a good like I think it was 18 million. You'll see like fascist Italy, a good like 6 million. You'll see, obviously Germany, 13 million. Did the same thing.
China
Just
under
took their
Mao.
guns. China, we don't even know. That's how horrific
Yeah,
that is. If we want to like talk about anyone being awful and evil, like what is it, like 50 to 100 million or something?
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, no. So let's just go with 50 million that can be confirmed. Then you look at the Rwandan genocide, which was again because of gun control. No one talks about that.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, because there was the Houthis and
yeah,
who else? The
it doesn't matter.
Houthis.
They're dead.
Yeah, the
But
Houthis and
anyway, so
someone else, and they
basically,
they were the two ethnic groups, and they hated each other. And then the
yeah.
one side took power, and they outlawed gun ownership for the other tribe,
The
and then
way I
the
see
one
it,
in power just yeah.
the way I see it is just it doesn't matter. Just black children sprawled across the Sahara, like everyone
Yeah,
died.
it was
So,
disgusting. Yeah. No
so
one
yeah,
talks
no,
about it though because it was an
yeah,
outlaw
no.
gun
But
control.
If you look at Turkey, which was I think the Ottoman Empire at the time, I think I don't
Yes,
know.
probably.
Um, it was the Armenian genocide, so
Oh
maybe.
yeah. They still
Yeah,
deny that.
so yeah, no, that took their guns and millions of Armenians were killed. If
Yeah.
you look at what's going on right now between Armenia and Azerbaijan, thank God it's two different countries. But I mean, it's way harder for the Armenians to kill the Azerbaijanis. So
Yeah, an
it's
armed populace is the best
yeah,
way to prevent disaster from happening.
But if you look at it, almost 100 million people in the 20th century alone were killed by gun control. And then if you look, and then that's not even counting the amount of inner cities that it's gotten worse in, and all the
Yeah.
people that have died then. It's probably another few million, because a few thousand in each city die every year because of it. So, yeah, no, it's horrific. I can't believe we're still supporting these policies. The amount of lives it's ended without it is probably like maybe a few thousand. Like, oh no, some guy got a gun and then so easily and shot one of his neighbors or something. Sure, whatever. But I think we have to admit that in red states or places with looser gun laws, if you look at Brazil, that guy, his gun crime was out of like through the roof. He legalizes guns, he loosens up on gun control. It's all better.
Yeah, Bolsonaro.
It's way better.
Oh
What
yeah.
what are these people thinking? This is the only time a government has ever said, and it was always the same during all of these horrific exterminations of people. It was always the same argument. We're doing this to protect you. We care about you. Let me just let everyone know something real quick. The government doesn't care about you. They own you. They take your tax dollars. They take all of that because apparently you're their bitch to them. And yeah, no, I think income tax is illegal. I think it should be. No taxation without representation. I think I think that we should ban income tax, at least on the federal level. State income tax can be fine. States can balance their own damn budget. But yeah, no. Federal income tax can suck a dick. So, yeah, no, I strongly am opposed. Oh god, to just our government in general. And it's not like we have the least corrupt government ever. It's not like New Zealand. It's not like what is it, England. It's not like the least or very lightly corrupt. Our government goes in deep. Like they're allowing our farmland to be bought up by China and Bill Gates and other elites and politicians.
And they don't care.
And they do not care. 75% of it is owned by the elites or China.
Yep. Single family housing bought up by BlackRock.
Yeah.
Have you heard about that?
Oh, BlackRock's like that classic villain in every
Yeah,
single,
I know.
dystopian
They
film.
own literally everything. They own stock in like Fox, CNN, MSNBC, Google, Amazon, literally any corporation you can think of. BlackRock owns a large percentage of, and they controlled like the board of the founders and like the board of directors.
It's horrific. That is, yeah, I haven't known that deep into it, but I do know they own a lot of our houses. They don't own mine.
So if you
Unless I
want,
don't
I
think.
just learned about this like a week or two ago. I've gone into that rabbit hole because I learned about this like a week ago.
Yeah, no, I learned about this about a year ago, but it was more of the homes. They own all these
Yeah,
homes. And what happens is
it's just
they,
happening in the suburbs. They're buying up these housing and then
yeah,
making people rent, so you can't like actually own property.
yeah, no, they're trying to make it to where you cannot. What was that one guy? He's like German or some shit. And he says,
Klaus Schwab.
that's it. You already know
Yeah,
what he
you will
said.
own nothing and you will be happy.
Yeah, you already knew what I was going to say. Yeah, he's like, in 10 years, you will own nothing and be happy. Bitch, I will own your fucking body.
We will never eat bugs.
I will shoot for the stars for you, man. I will. Mm, I'm gonna
Well, in
make
Europe,
my.
they're already ahead of us, and they're already like uprising against Schwab and people like that. Have you heard about what's
Yeah, no.
happening in the Netherlands and Germany and Spain and Italy?
I'm gonna.
Basically,
Yeah.
all of Europe.
No. Italy makes sense, especially Germany as well. I mean, their grandparents, some of them probably still alive, are like, "This is horrific. This is
Yeah.
even worse than what was happening during our childhoods. Like, this is. You need to stop this." So that's understandable. Russia, we don't know what's going on in there, but
Yeah, I don't know.
I'd assume if they're even hearing about what's going on outside in the rest of Europe, they're probably rising up too.
Yeah.
So I would just assume maybe. But yeah, no, Europe, they're like 5 years ahead, always.
Yep.
So they're going, let's just say in 5 years from now, I guess. So 2027, that'll be pretty cool. I'd love to do that actually. That would make sense though. Now I
Yeah.
think about it, like right after, like if Biden got reelected. Oh my God! Imagine if Biden gets reelected for a second term.
2024 is going to be the most important election of our lifetimes, unironically.
No,
because
like this is what
it
I'm
would
saying.
literally
These
be our last chance to possibly save the United States. Because if
That's what
Biden
I
were to
was.
win, then they would just implement everything. That's what they did with Obama. In 2008, Obama was kind of this moderate, I guess, generic Democrat. And then in 2012, after he won re-election, and they knew no matter what he was going to be solid, he just went full on in with the leftist social policy, and on economics, he didn't do a whole lot. But in terms of like the LGBT stuff and BLM. The BLM riot started in 2014. Obama just went full on crazy on social issues, and after he won re-election, LBJ did the same thing after LBJ won re-election in 1964. Him and the Democrats knew it wouldn't matter what happened after that, so they signed a bunch of stuff with immigration to change the demographics of our country. So if Biden were to win in 2024, we would be absolutely screwed because that they would just go all in again.
And it's not only just that, it's also the fact that even if Biden keeps up what he's doing right now after he gets reelected, this country will be so destroyed beyond repair.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even a joke. This is going to be horrific. We're experiencing a food shortage. Our country has never experienced that. We've never known, like, most Americans have never known true hunger. Their families haven't, their ancestors haven't for a long time. And now we're like going to see it. We're going to see starvation. And what are we doing in response to that? Yeah, take our guns. Like that's what we want to do. Any Holocaust survivor, have all said, no, keep your guns, don't let the government take them. Germany's gun control, it wasn't like they took every single gun. Everyone acts like it.
Yeah,
They
they
only
took
took the large guns. They just said, oh, it's to protect you. It was way lighter than what people make it out to be. And they were able to do so much with that. This is not a joke. This is very serious. People are willing to give up their rights for the feeling of safety when in reality it's only going to create more danger in their lives. This is going to allow the government to just starve us with no consequence. It is going that why do you think they're pushing so hard right now? They've been pushing like they've had little spurts, but this has gone on for months. They've never lasted this long. They've never gone this long into fighting for, gun control. They're still talking, and CNN's up in this bitch. Oh, but it's so rare for a citizen to actually shoot down the shooter. Yeah, because of your policies. Because of your liberal policies in these cities. That's the only reason why. Before there was gun control policies, it was fairly common. Because everyone would have a concealed carry.
Yeah, another thing people don't talk about is how in the 1950s it was actually really common for kids to like bring guns to school, and gun culture was even bigger than it was now. But you never had mass shootings, and that was because everyone who was good had an AR.
Yeah, well, not an AR
just a
back
gun
then.
oh yeah, not like a gun in general is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's awful. These safest places always have guns. The least safest don't. And it's just I'm depressed because this isn't the America that my grandparents' families wanted to give to me. This wasn't at all what they were thinking of when they said, oh, the American dream. This wasn't at all what they were thinking of. Their families came here dirt poor.
If you were to tell any of our
give
founding fathers or any World War II veteran what America would become, they would probably they would surrender to the Nazis. They would let the Nazis win.
Yeah, no, they would have, or let the British, to be honest.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I meant like World War II, but yeah, they would have if you were fighting World War II and you saw what America would become, you would you would probably switch sides and join the Nazis.
Yeah, no, that. Oh my God, it's so depressing. Just seeing what's happening everywhere, and then having our government be like, "Yeah, no, we want to take your guns because not for any particular reasons. We just really want them now." And I'm not going to get too conspiracy theory, but why is it that there's always mass shootings during a midterm year or these mass casualties?
That's true.
Like, remember
why were there riots in 2020?
Well, that always happens every presidential election.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's riots every presidential election.
But
2018, there was Parkland mass shootings
there was tons of school shootings in 2018.
Parkland, the school shooting, the mass shooting one. Was Sandy Hook in 2014?
Yeah, I think so. It's like, why are all of these happening during midterm years? Why is it that there's always
Sandy Hook was 2012.
Every presidential shit. Still, that's a presidential thing.
Yeah.
It's always during a political year. It's never during like an odd year, like
Nope.
2013, like 2019. Like it was never during any of those. I don't know, man. I'm a little depressed. This is
Crazy
awful.
stuff going on.
It's more than crazy. It's more than crazy. Trust me on that. This I just can't believe people are being so stupid. Like we have everything. We really had everything, didn't we?
Yeah,
Like think of
we threw it all
2019
away.
actually, before the lockdowns in 2019, we had everything.
Bro, February 2020 was so epic.
Yeah, it was the best. Even part of March, the first few days of March is probably even better. Like sure people were kind of
Yeah.
starting to talk about COVID, but like it wasn't as bad. I don't know. It's like existential crisis because I've been very depressed because I've lost 2 years of my life.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
yeah, no. Anyway, you
I
got
lived in
any
a red
takes?
area, so I wasn't too badly affected, but still, I lost definitely at least half of 2020, 6 months.
Yeah, no. For me, it was traumatic. Like this isn't exaggerating. This is actually like I still have nightmares about the shit that happened. Like you will never experience true terror unless you are like because I've also talked to people from like the West Coast and the East Coast, like in the Northeast, and they've said the same shit that they saw. We all saw tanks on our beaches. We saw police armed to the teeth on our beaches
What? For like the riots or for COVID?
for COVID. Like we would just go out.
Really?
This was in like April of 2020, and I was walking. I had to escape. I was lonely. Me and my friends were like, "Fuck it, let's just drive out. And let's go to Lakeshore Drive, take a nice drive down, go to the beach, whatever." Right? And we walked there, and you just see these police officers armed to the teeth. You have all, and you would think someone got killed, and there was like some sort of virus or something going around, which there was, but you'd think it was like actually deadly, like contagion or some shit, but no,
Holy
it
crap.
was it
Yeah,
was
we never had any of
unbelievable.
that here.
It was horrific. You just see that, and
Yeah, I mean,
you just
I never
you
had
get
any of that. I
depressed.
never saw that at all. I never saw a policeman. I never saw a tank. I never saw anything.
Yeah, no, and there was like policemen at every corner, and it
Oh
was
yeah, we had
basically
none of that here. At
you had
least
a
that I saw.
curfew. You had a curfew. You had to be home
Oh, we
by I
had
think it
that, but
was
it wasn't a big deal.
you had to be
It
home at
wasn't
like
enforced.
8. You had to be it was enforced here. Trust me on that. You had to be home at like 8 p.m. and we were like, holy shit. So like I had to go, thank God my grandfather made the best financial choices. So we have a lake cabin in Michigan.
Did you try to go up
Michigan's
there?
second.
Were you
Yeah.
allowed to cross state lines? I've heard that some states you weren't allowed to like leave.
Most people wouldn't, but we are so it's like God or whatever worked in our favor. My dad works in telecommunications, which basically
Mhm.
means he makes phones work.
Yeah.
He was given a paper that said you are allowed to leave the state of Illinois to go to any state east of the Mississippi. So to help DC and all that.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
he was able to take us, and then obviously I got to take a couple friends. My sister got to take a couple. My brother got to take a couple because their parents were like, "Screw this, we're not having them around this." Because everyone thought something was gonna go down, like, and it kind of did. The Black Lives Matter riots. It's funny. Those policemen just stopped right after that.
Oh, I'm sure they did. Yeah.
But yeah, no, we did online school up in Michigan just perfectly fine, doing all sorts of different stuff, like you know
Yeah.
actually trying to learn. My aunt is a science teacher and very Christian, which is ironic. And yeah,
Two things
no,
that don't
so
usually mix very well.
yeah, right. So she loves science, though. I love science. So me and her basically just taught, my siblings and our friends and all that, school. My parents were only able to go for a short time, and then they had to go back down because my mom's a therapist, so she couldn't work from home. My dad's a contractor, so he had to be there. But my aunt, she's a teacher, so she got to stay up there the whole time. And we got to all, chill out. So yeah, no, that was probably one of the most fun things I got to stay in Michigan for a year. Um, but yeah, no, it was, ugh, yeah. But I'm so glad we didn't have to go down there because there was so many riots, there was so many things that were happening, and I think we did visit down once for like a month, just to get some extra things and go back up because we were like, this is fun. Let's just go back up.
Yeah.
But we had to get a few things because we heard about riots starting up. So we were down there for like a week. And then one of those days, me and my friend were riding our bikes, and then we get to a grocery store. And when you hear one of the cashiers stand up and on top of the conveyor as it stopped and literally just scream, I don't mean to scare all of you, but shit's going down and you need to get the fuck out of here. I'm like, what? And then, there's like something going on in the TV and it's showing all these people running. And then me and our friend, obviously, we go outside and walk out and we just see these little dots, little black dots on the horizon. It wasn't black people, it was all white people, but they were wearing the Black Lives Matter shirts.
Yeah.
And they're just slightly growing and you're like, holy fuck. It's like a tidal wave of BLM. So we're running.
So you were like right there.
Yeah, no. So we're running home. They made their way out to the suburbs because they couldn't stay on the west side of Chicago because it was completely, west side Chicago was armed to the teeth with non-registered weapons, so they could easily get away with it. And so it's just, oh God, I don't even know where to start, but mainly it's just West Chicago, they didn't really fuck around. All the gangs pretty much united for a bit. They were just like, you know what? Screw this. These people are trying to destroy everything we love. Let's just unite. If you see them, you can shoot them. You can chase them down. Even if you come into our area, I don't give a shit. Right? So anyway, that pretty much stopped right around then. So they were like, oh, well, then I guess we have to go.
So it's kind of like the Korean rooftop guys? Nah.
Kind of, yeah. And anyway, so they were just like, fuck that, then we're going to go into the suburbs. And they went to this little rich neighborhood and they didn't really know what to do, but they had security, so they stopped that. They went into this poor area. There was nothing really to destroy. And then there was my town. Then there was my town. And that was like the next one over. I'm only 3 towns away from Chicago. I'm like barely in DuPage. So yeah, no, this was destructive when it came in, and immediately everyone, I think everyone who saw it just immediately started just screaming like, get your guns, it's Black Lives Matter, like Paul Revere type shit. So we're just all like running down the street. It's like, it's Black Lives fucking Matter. And then everyone's like, holy shit. So everyone just gets their guns out. They're standing on their porches, like, and just, it's the only place that got destroyed, I think, was the mall. And they destroyed like the entire top floor. So now it's only 2 floors. Yeah. So it's only 2 floors now. But yeah, no. Oh God. And then my dad was like, yeah, no, you guys are going back up to Michigan. And I was like, okay. So we spent rest of
I had no idea it was that crazy.
Oh yeah, no. Inner cities, suburbs, it gets crazy, especially in Chicago. You would expect that from Chicago, but Minneapolis, I mean, what did that Target do to people? Like, Jesus. Like, remember that?
There was really only one riot in Cleveland. That was like the first day of the riots. And I wasn't down there. I don't even live that close to Cleveland. I just like saw it on the news. They started like downtown, and it apparently started like peaceful. That's what they always say. But then,
well, it did. But then,
yeah, it did, and then it turned crazy. And there's this place in Cleveland. It's like, do you know what Heinen's is? It's like a grocery store. Okay, well, I don't know. I don't know if it's a Cleveland area thing or if it's just like a nationwide thing. It must be like a Cleveland thing. But there's a grocery store called a Heinen's, and it's in this really historic building, and I've been there a couple times. It's really nice. It's like a grocery store and like a like restaurant. It's a weird mix, but it's like in this really historic building that's been in Cleveland for a long time. And they started near like the prison, which if you've ever been to Cleveland, like the second tallest building in our city is literally the jail, which is kind of epic.
That makes sense. It's Cleveland.
Yeah. So they started like around there, and then literally they just branched out like in the course of like 30 minutes, if that, and the entire city just got like obliterated through riots, and they destroyed like all these historic buildings, and everything got graffitied. It was crazy.
Yeah, no.
But I only saw that on the TV. I couldn't imagine actually being there. I only saw clips on TV of people running into Target and Dollar General and like Walgreens and running out with a bunch of stuff, and then and then all the cars being smashed up around them and on fire. But I'm sure actually being there would be a lot scarier. But
It was horrific. I actually like saw someone get their face like stomped in, like trampled and shit. So like that was kind of dark. Somehow they lived, so that was odd. Thank God my dad has EMT experience, I guess. But yeah, no. So there was that. It was just 2020 was horrific, and you want to know what stopped it? It was the guns. It
true.
was the guns. It was the people in the suburbs with their guns. Immediately once they saw that, they backed the hell off and they went out to Naperville. They just tried something else there. They didn't try messing around with us. They were like, screw that. We're just going to go like 20 minutes out to Naperville. So yeah, no. It was like Mad Max almost. It was creepy. So anyway, speaking of Mad Max, we had to Mad Max it out of there to go to Michigan. They're like, screw this. And you would not believe the level of traffic out of Chicago. It was out of Illinois, typically it takes me about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, depending on the traffic. When it's very busy holiday weekends, like, 4th of July or Christmas or something like that, right? It'll be like, okay, maybe it'll be like 2 hours or 2.5. It took me 11 and a half hours to leave the state of Illinois. It was traffic after traffic. Like, we were literally in park for 2 hours and we were watching a movie. Like, we were watching a movie. Mind you, my sister can't do that because she gets car sick, but we weren't moving. So it was just able to watch it. Like, that's how long. I thought I was like somehow in hell. Like, I was like, did I actually die and go to hell? And now this is like my suffering. Am I supposed to like pay for my sins? So yeah, no. So I was like, shit, the Christians were right. So I was like, okay, this looks like we're just screwed here. It was awful. It was the worst thing I've probably ever been through. Is, hey, how about we just get rid of guns? And then it's like, when guns are in my life, it's the safest fucking time. I've been on
Yeah.
some hunting trips. I've been on so many just basically shooting range things. I've been around police officers with guns. Fun fact, my school now has 3 armed police officers. Because guns do help and they make you safer. And
Yeah.
now in those situations, I feel safer. When there's no gun around, I'm terrified because I know something's going to go down, especially if someone notices there's no guns around and they're actually bad. So yeah, no. Do you got any takes on the matter?
Not really, other than what we've said. AR-15s and guns in general are the best way to keep your community and your family safe. That's been shown time and time again. And honestly, mass shootings, they're horrific, but they could easily be solved with a good guy with a gun and more mental health training for people who are, messed up in the head. So, and your stories have proved all that. Your guns probably saved your life, and during when they showed up to your town, and
Oh, probably. They were like probably 10 feet away from the house.
yeah,
And I like literally all my dad said was just like, step the fuck up. Like, just like, let's go. Like, we had security cameras. We knew, like, okay, we got this on video at least. So
yeah.
yeah, no, it was awful. That's like me reliving my trauma. But that was one of the worst times of my life.
Man's having Vietnam flashbacks
Yeah,
on
no.
live on stream.
No, seriously. 2020 was probably the worst year of my life. I want to go back to 2013. That was fun. That was like 9. God. Yeah, no, but I don't know how to end this because I'm pretty much done with my rant
Yeah,
about
I don't got a whole lot to
guns
say
and
here either.
BLM
So we'll
and
just end it. Thanks for
genocide.
watching this video. I hope you learned something about AR-15s and guns in general, why they're important. If you did enjoy, please like and subscribe, and hopefully we'll get to do this again soon. Thanks for coming on,
Probably.
Chicago Zoomer. That was fun talking
Thank
to you.
you. I just woke up, so if I sounded stupid, it's probably why I rambled.